If you've been lifting for months and you still look or feel the same, there's a simple reason. You're not applying progressive overload the right way. It's the one training principle that determines whether you keep making gains or just keep spinning your wheels. But here's where most people go wrong. They think progressive overload just means lifting heavier every week. That's a huge mistake, and if you've been doing that, it might be why you're stuck. Progressive overload isn't just about adding weight to the bar. It's about forcing your muscles to adapt in multiple ways, whether your goal is getting stronger or building bigger muscles. And guess what? Strength and hypertrophy training are not the same. So if you don't match your overload strategy to your goal, you'll never get the results you want. In this video, I'll break down exactly what progressive overload is, the key differences between strength training and hypertrophy training, and the 5 most effective ways to overload your muscles so you can finally break through your plateaus and make real progress. Let's get straight to the point. Hi, I'm Steve, qualified personal trainer from Strength, Sweat, Succeed. And if you want custom tailored plans from myself and other professional coaches for weightlifting, powerlifting and more, then please check out the Bootcamp app, which I will link below, and use code STRENGTH for a 3-week free trial of the pro version that gives you deeper analytics and insights in your training. Now, if you ever feel you're putting the work in but not getting stronger or building muscle, that's because your body is way smarter than you think. It adapts. It figures how to make things easier. And if you don't keep challenging it, progress stops. This is where progressive overload comes in. It's the key principle of gradually increasing stress on your muscles over time, so they're forced to grow or get stronger. Now, most people assume that means simply lifting heavier every week. And yes, that works for a bit, but eventually you hit a wall where you can't simply add any more weight. That's why progressive overload is more than just increasing load. There are multiple ways to force adaptation, and depending on whether you want to build raw strength or maximize muscle growth, the way you overload needs to be different. So let's break down the biggest differences between strength training and hypertrophy so you know exactly what to focus on. If you're training for strength, the goal is simple. Move as much weight as possible. Strength training is all about maximal force production, which is why powerlifters, Olympic lifters and strongmen train the lower rep ranges, usually between the 1 to 6 reps per set, with very heavy weights, sometimes above 90% of their 1 rep max. Because the focus is on raw power, rest times are longer, around 2 to 5 minutes. So your nervous system fully recovers before your next set. The key to progressive overload for strength training is increasing weight and improving lift efficiency over time. Hypertrophy training is about how big your muscles can grow. The best way to trigger muscle growth is through mechanical tension, volume and metabolic stress, which means lifting in a 6 to 12 rep range using moderate to heavy weights and keeping your rest period shorter, usually around 30 to 90 seconds to maintain constant muscle fatigue. Instead of just focusing on moving the weight, hypertrophy training prioritizes time under tension and proper execution, which is where progressive overload plays a huge role in making sure you keep growing. Here's the biggest mistake most people make. If you train like a powerlifter but expect to look like a bodybuilder, it's not going to happen. And if you're chasing muscle growth but not focusing on volume and fatigue, you're not maximizing hypertrophy. This is why progressive overload must match your goal. So let's go over the 5 most efficient ways to apply it. The first and most obvious way to applying progressive overload is simply by adding more weight. If your goal is strength, adding more weight is your top priority. But here's the problem. Too many people increase the weight too fast and destroy the form. A better approach is to gradually increase 2 to 5% each week while keeping your technique solid. If your form breaks down, you've gone too heavy too soon. The second method is increasing your reps. If you train for hypertrophy and last week you did 3 sets of 8 reps, aim for 3 sets of 10 before increasing the weight. More reps means more total volume, which is key for muscle growth. A third way to overload your muscles is to increase the number of sets. If you're used to doing 3 sets of bench press, bumping that up to 4 sets can significantly increase your total workload, especially for your hypertrophy training. But don't just keep adding sets blindly, you still need quality over quantity. Now, a method that's also overlooked is decreasing your rest time. This is especially useful for hypertrophy training because the shorter rest period forces the muscles to work harder under fatigue. If you normally rest 90 seconds, cutting it down to 60 seconds will increase metabolic stress and force your muscles to adapt. But if your goal is strength, cutting rest time can actually hurt your performance. So remember what you're training for. And finally, one of the most effective but underused overload technique is time under tension. Most lifters rush their reps, missing out on a huge growth potential. If you slow down the lowering phase of a squat or bench press to 3 to 4 seconds, your muscles stay under stress longer, which forces them to work harder and break down more muscle fibers, leading to more growth. By using a combination of these 5 techniques, adding weight, increasing reps, doing more sets and shortening rest time, and increasing time under tension, you're constantly forcing your body to adapt and grow stronger. Now, the biggest mistake you can make is training blindly. If you're not tracking your lifts, then you're not going to know if you're progressing or not. That's why I recommend using a training log or a fitness app like Boostcamp, so you can track your weight, lifts and reps all in one place. And with Boostcamp, if you do decide to go with the paid version, you'll also get deeper analytics and insights into your training. And it will also tell you exactly how much you should be lifting based on your 1 rep max. Either way, you can try the app for free, and there's other workout programs from other qualified professionals, coaches and doctors, and there's a lot more there. If you do use our code STRENGTH when you do sign up, you'll also get a free 3-week trial of the paid version, so you can check it out yourself. Now, if after a few weeks nothing is improving, it's a sign you need to switch your overall strategy. And if you hit a plateau, don't panic. Instead of forcing heavier weight, switch things up, add reps and adjust rest time, or work on slowing down your movements. Sometimes taking a deload week where you reduce your weight by 50% can help you come back stronger.